Hey guys, my next tutorial is on the second essay option you have, which is an evaluation. I want to just clarify what I mean by an evaluation, and I put a little definition for you at the top here. Now, if you are evaluating something, I guess the simplest way to put it, you are judging that argument. You are weighing the strengths and weaknesses of that argument, and you are trying to reach a decision of whether or not that argument is ultimately successful. We come across these arguments every single day, and especially lately in 2020, it's everywhere. I can't even open up my Google feed without seeing opinion pieces left and right. Sometimes you agree with these arguments, sometimes you disagree with these arguments, and ultimately what this essay asks you to do is to choose one and argue against it. So yes, this is an essay that is going to be centered on a counter argument. So what does that mean? I just think it's more challenging for us to try to disprove an argument rather than to prove it. So I thought it would be really fun to have you select a person's argument and refute it, go against it, try to break it down and try to show why it is not successful. So in order to do that, we first have to choose a strong argument. An argument to argue against. And that argument can come from a variety of places. Now, I put some ideas here for you. Maybe this is an argument a political figure is making. Maybe it's from a lecture from a professor. I listen to Joe Rogan a lot, and his podcasts are really interesting, and they contain a lot of controversial issues. So if maybe I wanted to target one of his podcasts, I could use that to argue against. Maybe it's somebody's blog. Maybe it's a tweet. I mean, our president has tons of tweets. He tweets every single day. So I'm sure you'll find one that you would like to counter. There's so many out there. And I did want to take a moment and show you guys just a variety of arguments. Let's say if I were going to do research, I would first start with the issue itself. So if I am passionate about an issue and I would like to write on behalf of that issue, well, what I would like to do, and a good starting point, is to find someone who disagrees with me. So here's one example I want to show you guys, and let me begin with this article right here. This is an opinion piece that is on behalf of defunding the police. And so this columnist writes how it's not a bad idea, and he tries to kind of like silence some of the misconceptions surrounding that idea. So I wanted to give you guys a hot topic just because this is being debated in our society right now. I don't necessarily agree with defunding the police. I think it's a really difficult and underappreciated job that police officers have. So let's say if I wanted to tackle this issue, I would go ahead and read this article, and I would step by step try to counter what Christoph is arguing. So in order to do that, and going back to my point right here, I would first have to contextualize the argument. I would have to explain what it is he's even saying, like give the details behind it. Obviously, with an issue like this, there's a lot of background that we want to cover. The who, the what, the when, where, all of this is important. So first you want to explain what the argument is, and then your evaluation is going to be that step-by-step process that you take to prove why this person is not making a strong enough argument on behalf of their idea. So you want to ask yourself some questions here. Is the person biased Does the person have logical fallacies in their argument? You'll find lots of them actually. Maybe, the person does not have strong logic, so the logos is weak. Maybe the emotional element of the argument is weak. Maybe the person's ethos is weak. There's so many factors that can go against a person's argument. So, yes, I do want you to talk about this person's writing style and this person's thinking and this person's representation of their emotion and their ethics and their morality. What is it that you think is weak about this person's argument? So keep in mind, it's not about the topic itself. It's about the way that this person has argued for that topic. And that's the part that you are going against. So here's another idea that I wanted to show you guys. Here's a CNN article that is representing Donald Trump's tweet. And this was a few years ago. He actually tweeted saying that he supports for teachers to be armed and for them to, and this is part of his tweet, that he says they should get bonuses and they should obviously get training and stuff to be armed. I don't know about you, but I'm still a little conflicted about the issue, but I, as a teacher, would not want to walk around with a gun. Guns scare me. I don't think that that's my place at all to have a gun in the classroom. And keep in mind, I'm not a K through 12 teacher, which I think would be even scarier to have a gun. So the fact that, let's say, Trump tweeted this, I'm using CNN's article, by the way, but if I really wanted to do this argument, I would have to go to Twitter and find the actual tweet. So that way, when it came back to my context, I would directly quote Donald Trump's tweet and then I would break it down. So notice that the argument that you select from the opposite side, it doesn't have to be a really long argument. It could be a short article. It could be a short tweet, and obviously I would say let the tweet be long enough for you to find problems with it, either in the writing or in the tone or in the logos, pathos, ethos, or maybe it contains just a bunch of fallacies that you would like to write about. But it doesn't have to be super long. That's my point here. And then, of course, I do have a third example I wanted to show you. And this is from a historian, and it's a representation of a historian who is actually on behalf of the removal of some of these statues that have existed for years and years. So the historian here, Annette Gordon-Reed, is on behalf of destroying these statues as, a way to, let's say, get rid of the problem of racism. And I myself don't think that history should be erased for the sake of what is politically correct at the moment. I think history has its place, learning about this stuff, learning about racism, learning about what our nation has gone through and what it is going through, and what it can possibly go through in the future is all part of education. It's all part of learning. And to destroy these monuments and to destroy these statues is, for me at least, a destruction of history. So I would like to counter this argument right here, which is from this historian right here. So this is a Q&A, and it's again, it's supposed to be on behalf of the idea of destroying these statues, which again, I'm choosing really controversial issues at the moment that we're encountering in our society right now. So I would love to see what you guys come up with. This is an exciting topic for me because let's face it, we're living in pretty exciting times at the moment, and there is so much that you can argue against. And I want you guys to have a critical opinion of things. If I want you to show skepticism towards other people's arguments, and don't just take them at face value, and don't just run with them, and don't post them because everybody else is doing it. Don't hop on that bandwagon because everybody else is doing it. You form your own conclusions and your own arguments, and that's probably the best gift that I can give you in this kind of class. So I guess the first step is, why don't you choose an argument that interests you? Maybe it's something that's being discussed right now in our society, and then go ahead and find somebody who is, working against that argument. There's going to be tons, honestly. All you have to do is a Google search, just maybe watch some YouTube videos, maybe listen to some lectures, maybe read some opinion pieces online, and I am positive you will be able to find an article that you can counter. And your evaluation will then be an attempt to disprove that person's argument, an attempt to show the flaws in that person's argument. To be honest with you, it's also very possible for you to choose an argument that you agree with, but you don't agree with the person's approach. I don't know if that makes sense, but you can always contact me if you feel confused about that. For example, if, let's say, I agree with the idea of arming teachers, but I don't agree with Donald Trump's tweet because I think that his argument has problems in it, well, my evaluation can be on that too. So the point I'm trying to make is that your evaluation is not on the topic itself. It's on this person's argument related to the issue. So you're really breaking down that argument, and you're creating criteria that shows the flaws in that person's argument. So I really hope this is clear, and I really hope you guys are, hopefully, fingers crossed, inspired to select an exciting topic, to select an exciting argument. There's so much that you have to choose from out there, which is why I did not want to select a topic for you. I want you to select your own. So that is option number 2. Again, if you guys have any questions about it, please feel free to email me.